Today I'm going to go over 4 Amazon Prime originals that you are sleeping on. And then at the end, I'm going to throw in one bonus that's not a original to Prime, but still worth checking out. To get things started, let's talk about Peripheral. So what's it about? Chloe Grace Moretz is the star of this series. It's based on the book by William Gibson. He's like known as the father of cyberpunk. And so it's very much in line with cyberpunk, futuristic, all that stuff. Without giving anything really away, just is about these people in the future, not very far in the future, who put on these VR headsets and they do these jobs for people they don't know. And it's just sort of what happens from there, like what are these jobs, what's actually happening, and then things spiral from there. That's what the show's about. That's the vein that it's in. You know, it is very cyberpunky, very futuristic, very like high level futuristic cyberpunk as well. Who's it for? Fans of that cyberpunk genre, that really in-depth cyberpunk stuff too, and like people who like really complicated stories, lots of facets, lots of higher concepts. This is definitely more in vein. It's not necessarily an easy watch because of that. It's kind of, you got to pay attention. There's a lot of this stuff where I was like, man, this is over my head. Like, I don't even know what they're talking about. And I watch a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows with a lot of deep, you know, cyberpunk, deep concept, life, where are we, blah, 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 all the stuff. And this was at times over my head. So know that going into it. That's definitely important to know. What did I like about this series? I like the fact that like it is awesome to look at. It is very pretty. The world especially is like very cool, very interesting, and asks a lot of questions about like, why is this stuff here? Why does it look like this? Why do these people have this ability? Why can they do that? Blah, 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 all the stuff. And so it asks a lot of cool futuristic questions and has a lot of cool futuristic ideas. And so I really like that. I like the action set pieces when action is happening. It's usually really cool and cool things are happening and cool tools are used to fight and all that kinds of stuff. So those are the things I liked about it. What did I not like about Peripheral? Well, it's a little slow. And by a little slow, I mean like sometimes it's really slow. There are these really long conversations that happen. They probably happen twice an episode where they'll be sitting there talking back and forth, Quentin Tarantino style. And at first you're in it, you're like, okay, I get it. And then it just keeps going and going. And your mind will start to wander and you'll forget, like, what are they talking about? And you'll get confused. It doesn't make sense. You're like, wait, well, how does this tie in? What are they talking about exactly? They'll use like all these really big, complex terms and words that apply only to the peripheral world that like we, the viewer, don't really know yet. And if we do know, it was only mentioned like once and I'm not totally sure exactly what it means. So there's just a lot of that happening where these conversations feel like they're leaving us, the viewer, behind, and they're assuming too much about like what we know. And I'm a big proponent of like, you know, don't hold the viewer's hand. Like, you don't need to show us and tell us every little detail, but I think Peripheral goes a little bit too far into that, assuming that we know more than we do. And like I said, this might be my fault for not getting it, but I mean, I feel like I get most things like this, and it was a little over my head. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it because of this, but I think it is definitely important context, knowing going into it, if you are going to start it, to, you know, you're going to be paying attention. This isn't like a turn your brain off show. Next up, we have Outer Range. What's it about? Stars Josh Brolin as like a ranch owner. He owns a whole bunch of land in Montana, and there's a hole on his property in the ground, and this hole is just goes, it's endless into the abyss. And the series is about what's the hole, what does the hole do, people finding out about the hole, you know, what are they gonna do? So it all just kind of is around like, why is that there? What does it do? How does it work? And then things kind of are happening in the world and to Josh and to his family. And that's the gist of the show. So who's Outer Range for? This series, I would say, is for most people. It is a show that most people will enjoy. It is violent. It's not too violent, but it is violent, and it's not funny. So it's not that kind of show. It's definitely like a mystery, sci-fi drama. That's what you're getting into. So it's not super fast paced. It's a little bit slower, lots of questions, lots of, you know, who's this, what's that type of vibe. What did I like about it? It's filmed really well. It's filmed more like a movie, and so it is really pretty to look at, and it really keeps you engaged because it asks a lot of questions and things are coming up, and then it answers those questions as it continues to ask more. So you're constantly kind of being, breadcrumbed along into this story and having more questions about what's going on and where things are leading to. The acting is really good, and I just like that kind of modern Western vibe overall. What didn't I like? It's not slow, but it's not fast. Like I just was saying, it's not like an action series. It's a drama, and sometimes it's not quite dramatic enough, and sometimes the questions aren't quite compelling enough to keep you engaged and locked in. And I think that because of those things, it's not like an absolute must recommend, but it is for sure worth your time, and it's a good watch overall. Real quick, if you've made it this far into the video, I'd be super grateful if you would subscribe. Just tap that little button below. It really helps me a lot. I'm trying to grow the channel. I can only do that with your help. Up next, we have The Boys. What's it about? I think most of you have heard of The Boys, but if you haven't, it's just what if superheroes were corrupt and bad, and they weren't just all altruistic, great, amazing people, right? This is mostly for those of you that have not seen it yet. This is like my last push to be like, hey, it is worth your time, that you should watch it, and it is interesting, and it's not a waste of time by any means. Who's it for? It's for anybody who is looking for a show that's just over the top vulgar, over the top violence. It's humor, the action, all the stuff, blood and gore, you name it. Just turn it up to 10. That is this series to a T. What do I like about The Boys? So a show like this sort of lives and dies by its characters, and so it's got to have good characters to keep you engaged, because that's really what it's all about, all these superheroes and what they're doing, and the normal people and what they're doing, right? So I think that it has good characters. It's got all the different kinds of characters. It's got crazy ones, terrible ones, nice ones, good ones, bad ones. They cover a lot of them are kind of gray area as well, which makes for a better character. So for me, the characters are strong enough to keep me engaged. And then when I'm maybe not super sold by whatever motivation the character has at the time, then it's got the blood and the gore, and it's got the violence and the jokes that keep me engaged in those the interstitial moments, right? Another thing I like about it is just the fact that it's asking the fun question that is, what do you do to fight back? What do normal people do to fight back against superheroes? Like, how can we even compete? And so it asks that question, and it does an okay job answering it, and so that's enough for me to be interested in it at the very least. So what do I not like about it? I don't love The Boys. It's not a 5 out of 5 for me, but it is, it's like a 3.5, 4. I really like it, and it is engaging. And I think that what it's missing for me is just kind of that emotional depth. I think it definitely tries to have deep emotional points throughout the series, but it never quite hits it for me. It tries really hard, but it just can't quite get there. And so that's what for me holds it back from being like something super amazing and something like absolutely recommendable. But other than that, I think it does a really good job keeping you entertained. And that's really what we're there for, right? All right, and then the bonus series is Yellowjackets. Yellowjackets is a Paramount Plus series, but the first season is available on Amazon Prime, so you can check it out there without having to subscribe first to Paramount Plus. What's it about? So what it does, it moves back and forth between the past and then the present, and it just jumps back and forth, and it's focused on this high school girls soccer team, and they went through a traumatic experience in the forest where they got stuck there, and then it goes back to their like real life as them as adults, and it kind of just jumps back and forth, and basically teasing along the way what happened while they were in the forest. So the whole time you're trying to figure out like what happened, because the intro to the series is like crazy, and so the whole time you're jumping back hoping to get more answers about what happened when they were in the forest, and then they're dealing with basically drama in their lives now for like people trying to figure out what happened or some other stuff happened. So that's the gist, that's the baseline of what the plot is. Who's it for? So it's sort of spooky. It's not like a spooky show though. There's only like maybe 2 times in the 10 episodes that are like where it kind of starts to come up on scary, but there is kind of that vibe sometimes. And you know, it's really just a mystery. So it's a mystery. That's what it's about. That's who it's for. Someone who wants to watch a slower mystery TV show. What I liked about it is I liked the when things get crazy, they get crazy, and they're interesting and it's fun to watch. So whenever things got ramped up, then I was usually engaged and locked in. So that was the main thing I liked. I think the acting is also good. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's passable. It doesn't really take you out of it. What do I not like about it? It's going to be the pacing. Now, I'm recommending this, but I'm recommending it with like a pretty big caveat that's just like, this movie is going to hit for some people and it's not going to hit for others. Like, it didn't actually work super for me, but it worked for my wife. My wife really liked it. And so maybe it's a more like female oriented show. I don't know, but I think that is who it's more in line for. For those first, I mean, nothing's really happening. It's just sort of more like you're just kind of watching drama. You're just like watching, but no questions are really being answered. It has been renewed for a third season, so people like this series. So listen to me with the caveat that's like, it is slower and it asks tons of questions, and you want to have these questions answered, especially some of these really big ones that are asked really early on, and you're just like waiting for them to like spill the beans, and it's never getting spilled. So know that going into it, but it's still fun when it's fun. So hopefully there's something here for you if you've been looking for a new TV show. I think there's something here for everybody, depending on what you're looking for. My number one recommendation, my personal favorite out of all of them, you might think it's The Boys, but I think I'd push Outer Range just because I think it's got that more film feel that I really enjoy. But yeah, there's something here for everybody. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe. I drop videos every day, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.